What's up? I hope you're doing good. Today I'm going to be reading from Secret Thoughts of an Adopted Mother. This one I actually put off for a long time because my mother passed away that raised me in 2010, and I was just scared to open this book because I'm like, man, this is gonna open a whole can of worms, dude. Whoo! But this is gonna be the topic of race. If you're a transracial adoptee, if you are white parents raising a child of color or not your race, this is going to hopefully give you some insight and help you understand what's going on. And quick little overview. My parents were white. I am Hispanic. They thought it was okay to not teach me about race, and that was extremely destructive and detrimental to my identity and my health. And hopefully this video will prove to you that race is very important to the child and how to help. So this is going to be page 142. Let's see. So they are white parents adopted like a Hispanic and black child. In spite of his rich ethnic blend, Ari is perceived as black, and we need to help him learn what that means. Back in our pre-adoption dark ages, quotes, I thought race was a non-issue when it came to parenting. In fact, it is the issue. Excuse me. It is the issue. I just want to say that one more time. That's so important. Back in our pre-adoption dark ages, I thought race was a non-issue when it came to parenting. In fact, it is the issue. And my parents never got that, and it was really unfortunate because one of the basic best interests of your child of color or an actual need is acknowledging race. And it's so important that if you dismiss it like, oh, they're just like us, it's not a need, that is actually doing your child a disservice. So moving on, we have to deal with race before adoption because it is more immediately noticeable to other people. I evolved from an unenlightened white woman who thought all people should be treated equally to an enlightened one who knows they are not. And the transformation has sharpened me in ways that scare some of my friends. When I'm not with my son, people think I'm white, not a cross-burning skinhead. Sorry, my dog is really annoying. Not a cross-burning skinhead, just a run-of-the-mill white person, enlightened enough to appreciate positive portrayals of blacks on TV and books, happy to have black neighbors and friends, and unknowingly supremacist, as most whites are. The assumption of my whiteness bothers me because I can no longer look at the world with presumption that things are right. What I see is the false white premise upon which standards of goodness and normalcy are based. For me, now the world is forever askew, something I am missing. It has always been missing, but I previously lacked the personal stake that is the prerequisite to racial enlightenment. You don't have to search far. From the Candyland game board to the roster of school teachers at school, or the greeting card section at Payless, to see the blacks are either missing, misrepresented, or included as if for extra credit. In my son's absence, I could be any other white woman. Unaware, Olive, she's a small Chihuahua looking dog. She's so loud. I'm so sorry. I could be any other white woman, unaware of her unearned privileges. In my absence, he could be any other black male, a source of purse tightening anxiety that is reflexive in some. What we are together, a very happy, loving family, is not always what others choose to see. Okay, buddy, come here. Daddy's making a video. I remember the time Ari found a new friend to play at the park. These two boys were nearly the same size and equally excited by the cardboard box they had just imagined into a rocket. Sitting on the bench nearby, the other boy's mother opened a bag of Fritos. Faster than the speed of light, the miniature astronauts were kneeling in front of her, hands cupped. "Ask your mommy if it's okay," said the careful lady. Without leaving his strategic post near the Fritos, Ari called to me. I had a Casper-like experience walking towards the other mom, as if I were a vapor. She simply could not see me headed her way. It was only when I got within 5 feet of Ari beseeched, "Mommy, can I please have some Fritos?" that the other woman noticed me and realized, belatedly, that I was the person she was looking for. "Oh, sorry," she said instinctively, as if to excuse her preconceptions for blocking her view. I was invisible at the mall once when I overheard one teenager ask if that little black kid was here alone. 3 feet apart, we were unrelated. In a way, my black son is on his own. Regardless of my commitment, notwithstanding my devotion, despite my love, my son is alone in a way I have never had to be. To some, I look more like my child's social worker than his mother. We get smiled at, glared at, but always stared at. Adopting interracially is like donning a permanent sandwich board that advertises your adoption and your infertility too. Granted, ours doesn't resemble the families that on Hallmark cards, but we must explain and re-explain to ourselves and strangers as if it is our responsibility to sort out the situation for the confused observer. Where did he come from? Is he yours? Did you adopt him? Is his father black? How did this happen? I've had to get used to uninvited questions and unwelcomed attention, though I've sometimes wished that we could be inconspicuous. Loving my son as I do, I have become an acute barometer of bias. I notice where race makes a difference. I can't find a place where it doesn't. Attuned to the slightest suggestion of discrimination and prejudice in even the most innocent and mundane places, my antennae are always up. I've seen racism on playgrounds, in swimming pools, at glances, in books, on applications, and at the doctor's office. Much of the racism I have seen firsthand is what I'd call friendly racism. One of the most, I don't know what that word is, virulent strains by virtue of its unwitting perpetrators. I am taken aback by the people that ask my son if he wants to be an NBA basketball player when he grows up and ask me if he's from Africa. That's so racist. It's so wrong. People just don't understand. My dad is one of them. They don't understand race and how they're being racist. On his behalf, I am offended when it comes to complete strangers that reach over and touch his curly hair or call him brother. I have heard more than one child ask him why he's black. I used to be laughed at because people asked me what my race is, and I said, I don't know, I'm just like you, because that's what my parents told me. I was laughed at. They were like, you don't know your race? Like, you're an idiot. Like, because everybody's taught their race, and my parents were not my race, so it was very confusing for me. Were I to challenge any of these friendly people, I'd surely be accused of delusion or at least overreaction. Oh, you're just reading into things. Don't be so paranoid. Nico. You want to be in the video? Okay, I'm almost done. Or when did you become such a super sensitive zealot? Racism, I believe, is never innocuous, no matter how slight or unintentional. It is one thing not to speak about racism, but another not to recognize it. The first is unhealthy. The second is malignant. I seem to have lost my sense of humor in this area of my life. My son has a beautiful and expressive face. His big round eyes and his eyes bend slightly at the edges like upside down smiles. And his lips pucker like the beginning of a kiss when he is concentrating. Most parents would gloat to hear others say about their son, oh, he's a very good looking boy, or isn't he handsome? I couldn't accept the compliment though. from a woman at the beach who said, "He's beautiful, you better put some sunscreen on him." I didn't think she was really warning me about the sun's ultraviolet rays. And then it says that other comments, it says, "Often I'm afraid at hearing only the first part. He's a good looking," of an unfinished sentence for a black boy. And this is just like, I highly recommend this book. It's a hard read for me because, like I said, my adopted mom passed away. I know she loved me. I know she deeply, deeply cared for me. Love is unfortunately not enough. And I just made a video about the book. But the real interests of the adoptee are obviously, number one, for me, staying in contact with my biological family. I think that's any baby's first real interest and need, is to stay in contact with their biological families, unless they're like a very, very danger to society. Obviously, that's, I mean, you can use common sense, like if they're gonna murder the kid and they're truly unwanted. But if the kid's asking for it, like I kept asking, when am I gonna meet my family? When am I gonna meet my family? When am I gonna meet my family? And it was just a very big need for me. And then race, biological family and race. Teach them everything you can about your race. Get them into a diverse culture where there is other races, where they're not just completely like surrounded by white people like I was. And it was, I can't lie. I mean, I was suicidal for the longest time. And then on top of that, my parents said that I was lucky and that I should be more grateful, and that I don't know how good my life is. And it was a very, very, very dark place for me because of my race and because of my parents' ignorance on the subject. I mean, it's just a very sad thing looking back, but I have forgiven them. And it's just that important to me to make these videos for adoptees that may go through this, or families looking to help their adoptive race that may not think that race is a big deal. Because it is. It's a very, very big deal, and racism is extremely hurtful, and it's everywhere, and it's unfortunate, but it's a real thing. So I hope this video helps. I will see you in the next video, and I really hope that I genuinely helped give some value into your life. Thank you so much.